Here's what happened round 15 of the FI Motocross World Championship, the MXGP of Sweden in Uddevalla. The MX2 Ram qualifying race kicked off with Hågmo and Sasha Kunin vying for position as they crossed the Fox hole shot line, but it was Kunin who led the way coming out of the first couple of corners. Hågmo was there in second. Third was Adamo, fourth Everts, and fifth Elzinga, with Braceras and Langenfelder next. Langenfelder into the back of the Spaniard, though, on the opening lap, but a lap later, he would find his way into sixth with this pass on the number 22, David Braceras. Rick Elzinga was ahead of him then in fifth position, but around about the halfway mark, the Red Bull Gas charged down the inside of the Yamaha man to move into fifth. There'd be another pass later on as well. As he led, Sasha Kunin, though, started to make one or two mistakes, and that allowed Kevin Hågmo to come into play here. This was on lap 9. The Norwegian on the F&H Kawasaki eventually made the move a couple of corners later to take over the lead, and on the same lap, Liam Everts, who had carved his way from fourth past Adamo, then moved past Sasha Kunin into second. And then Kunin, 2 laps later, and 2 laps from the end of the race, had this hard hit on the face of a jump. He would eventually pick himself up to finish in 11th. His brother Lucas Kunin didn't start because of a crash in the time practice session earlier on. But charging downhill for the final time, Kevin Hågmo did hang on from Liam Everts to take his first MX2 pole position, his first Ram qualifying race win. Everts second, Adamo third. Langenfelder hung on for fourth from Rick Elzinga, David Braceras, Oriol Oliver, and Isaac Gifting. Gifting finding his way past Emil Weckman for 8th on the final lap. Weckman coming home in 9th, and Camden McClellan picking up the final point in 10th place. And in terms of the championship, Liam Everts gained a point on Andrea Adamo. No Jargo Kietz this weekend either. Still injured from Finland. Coming into the MXGP Ram qualifying race, Jorge Prado's advantage over Roman Febvre was 98 points, and it was the Spaniard who crossed the Fox hole shot line ahead of everybody else. And from there, no one really saw which way he went. Geiser had a brief look as he was there in second position, so too Seewer, who was third. But behind those guys, the Landren in fourth, but not for long, because Hurlings moved past the Dutchman into that fourth place. And then Febvre, a couple of positions further back, had to be decisive, made this move on the number 10, Valandren, to move into fifth on the opening lap. Meanwhile, there was no change throughout the race between Geiser and Seewer. Those two fought over that second place. Eventually it did go to Geiser. All eyes, though, were on the battle between Jeffrey Hurlings and Roman Febvre. And on lap 5, Febvre did eventually get the better of the KTM man to move into fourth position. But then a lap later, a couple of corners from where he made the pass, he lost the front and the back. Hurlings went by back into fourth. Febvre had to regroup. He went back after the bullet, got in terms and got in touch with him again. But there were a couple of frustrated moments. And then eventually on the final lap, he just overshot the berm here, stalled the engine. And that was a let-off for Hurlings, but Roman Febvre very frustrated at finishing in 5th place. 2 laps to go. Glenn Koldenoff, who had come from outside the top 20, found his way around the outside of Maxime Renault, his teammate. Those two go to the line in 11th and 12th. Good to see Maxime Renault back from injury as well this weekend. But for the 10th time, the Red Bull Gas of Jorge Prado crossed the line to win the MXGP Ram qualifying race. Tim Geiser coming home in second, ahead of Jeremy Seewer, Jeffrey Hurlings, Roman Febvre, Calvin Valandren, Ruben Fernandez and Valentin Guillot. And then behind them, picking up 9th, Albi Ferrato and Benoit Paturel, picking up the 1 point. Ferrato finding his way past the Frenchman on the final lap. Prado then extends his lead from 98 to 102 points now over Roman Febvre as we head into the main races. Seewer there in third, pulling distance on his teammate Koldenoff, who did not score in the qualifying race today. So 8 points gained for Seewer.